Kevin wasn't kidding. We really need like a fade out button for these space intros because it sounds awkward to just cut it out abruptly. Poppa Stonks, welcome.
Hey Noah, how you doing, man?
I'm doing
Yeah,
good,
you're
man.
not.
It's been a long day of spaces, but I'm happy to cap it off with this fireside chat.
Yeah, man, you guys have had some monsters on today.
Yeah, we had quite the lineup. ICP, Ignite DAO, and then Tezos. Guys that came on speaking for these projects as well are all brainiacs in their own right. So uh, I was trying to keep up and hopefully absorb some information along the way. Papa Stonks, give our community a quick intro to yourself, your origin story, your career trajectory, and then how you ultimately made that jump into Web3. And then from there, we'll learn about your channel and all the things that you've built since being in the industry.
Well, my name's Rick, Papa Stonks. I got into crypto around 2015. Um, I came from the stock and options trading world in Discord and Facebook. I started a Discord server with a couple guys called Stonks, and we mainly focused on options. And then I kind of converted over to crypto with futures, calling plays, and from there, I didn't really get into DeFi until actually SafeMoon was my first DeFi play. And I never joined Telegram. I actually thought it was just 100% scam. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was mainly just on Discord, and a couple friends, they launched some projects, and so I wound up coming to Telegram, and I started networking and just behind the scenes, and that's basically how that started. A friend of mine that had launched a project, he passed away a couple days after, and I jumped in. I wasn't very vocal in the community. Um, I always tried to stay behind the scenes, but I wanted that project to carry on for him. But unfortunately, all I could do was just throw money into the chart and provide exit liquidity for people. So that wasn't very sustainable. Um, and in the meantime, I had some friends that got scammed and in a good sale. So me and people, got in a room, got everybody in a room, and me and just a couple other guys, we were tracking down all these transactions and doxed the scammer. We were able to get back a little bit of the BNB and kind of launch a community driven anti-scam token to help some of the investors get whole so they weren't at 100% loss. Um, you know, During that time, I spent a lot of time going into some dark areas of Telegram, tracking and hunting scammers, and that my channel, my lounge and channel were actually started to meant to be part of that. Projects were going to be vetted by us. And some proceeds were going to go back into the token. But unfortunately, there was no community behind that token, and whatever we did, we just could not get one. People were too busy out chasing hype and chasing rugs. You know, they they didn't like safe token. Um, so it kind of just it died. Right now liquidity's still locked in there. It's still tradable, but it's you know, at the end of the day, when that unlocks, the liquidity is just going to be split up to the remaining holders, and you know, that's that. During that time, I became involved in Squid Grow, and I've been there, heavily involved in Squid Grow, kind of helping basically run the community. Me and some of the mods. Um, we've got the A team over there as far as mods and admins go. Um, and the community is just awesome. That's I believe truly that's what it takes to really sustain and keep a token running. Because you can launch all the utilities in the world, but if you have no users, what do you really have? Um, During that time, my lounge was growing. I host AMAs, and basically, I try to bring good projects in there to share with my community. Safe projects or projects I think are safe. Um, Obviously, you can't really guarantee that something is going to make it, but as long as the team behind it isn't actively stealing, um, that's about as safe as you can be in the space. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of the short version of it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's been quite the journey for you so far. First of all, my condolences regarding your friend and partner. That was must be awful to go through that. And kudos to you guys for tracking down some perpetrators and showing the crypto community that there can be justice in instances of malice. I want to know more though about Astronaut Lounge. I want to dive deep into the community that you're building, what kind of content you're putting out, what kind of um, what kind of interests your community has. Are they mainly traders? Are they builders? Are they developers? Give us a high level overview, or rather, the nuts and bolts deep dive into the Astronaut
Yeah,
Lounge, and then we can kind of go and dissect each component.
yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the lounge, we do have some degen traders in there, um, but mainly, I think a lot of the community are more interested in the long term utility tokens and utility plays. Um, but we do have a lot of people, gaining interest in futures trades because I do trade futures, and I share some plays in there, and you know, I try to focus on the education part of it instead of just calling a play and that's that. I want these people to be educated to make their own plays and manage risk appropriately. But it has been growing a lot, and we've had some great projects in there. Great community that these project owners and their communities have embraced and become part of the Astronaut Lounge community. And we talk about all kinds of stuff from this the crash of USDC, the banking crisis, and everything. It's all around crypto community.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So when you say you try to focus on education, do you mean that you try to focus on kind of trading fundamentals, how to use trading tools, how to trade futures, basically teaching novices that um, haven't traded before the ropes? Is that what you mean by education?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. I want to teach them how to properly manage their risk, because, so, some people, they get addicted to, high leverage and don't use proper risk management. And, I've seen some people get wrecked, even though I've repeatedly told them over and over to stop doing what they were doing. But, they've had one or two big wins, and then next thing you know, they're broke. They've lost it all. And, that's the things that I want people to avoid. That's the things that I don't like to see. I hate seeing people lose money. Obviously, you can't win them all, but as long as you manage your risk correctly, and what I always tell people is, when you start trading, is trade small and trade often, but you need to keep a journal. You need to keep a journal and write down why you entered a play, why you set your stop loss where you did, why are you taking profit where you are. What are your reasons for this? What was your entry strategy, and what's your exit strategy? Write all that down and keep track of all those things, so that way you can go back and look at them and compare everything and figure out the best strategy that works for you. Everybody trades differently. Not everybody is going to enter on a trade that I'm looking at something. Not everybody is looking at that same thing or looking for that same thing. I try to take a lot of factors into account into trades, as far as the whole macro and the psychology. You've got psychological supports and resistances, and you've got pattern traders. There's a lot of pattern traders out there. So if they see a falling wedge and they see it start to curl up, that's when they start throwing in heavy on longs. And you take all those things into account. um, and you don't have to do all that. I've been trading for a long time, so I take all those things into account. But there are certain things, people trade one way or another, that they are successful. There's people that trade with just Fibonacci lines, and there's people that trade with patterns, and there's people that trade with just the heat bands, where you see where max pain is on on Bitcoin. So you know you're looking for that liquidation candle. um, there's so many different strategies, and you can take a mixture, or you can just take one. But the key thing is properly managing your risk when it comes to the trades.
No doubt. And look, zooming out, based on your experience and looking at the current market technicals, I'm not a TI guy by any means, but would love to know what your thoughts are as far as where you see, and the market typically follows Bitcoin, but where you see Bitcoin going over the next, I don't know, 6 to 12 months.
Oh, well, a lot of things have changed just in the past week, with the banks and everything else. So, barring any more catalysts, I still say um, that we might, get a nice little pump up to, up around 28K, and we'll see some profit taking, and we'll pull back. We might not pull back as far as I thought we were going to. I thought we were going to come down around 15K. But with the catalyst that had just happened, that kind of that might invalidate my TA. So you have to take into account all these things. We've got so many catalysts in March. I was just talking to, I see Dane down there, Crypto Blast. He's our CMO for Squid Grow, and he's a trader himself, and he definitely takes into account the whole macro with all the different catalysts, CPI, you know the jobs reports, all this stuff, the FOMC, and then who knows, we might go to war with China or Russia ourselves, so that could really tank everything. So 6 to 12 months, I still see a pullback from around 28K, but as far as how low it'll go, I can't really say. Um, but I think around Q3, you know, we might start seeing some positive movement, and then kind of take off. You know, Q1, Q2 of 2024, going into the halving.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Squid Grow. I wasn't in on that AMA. Would love to know, just from a high level, what you guys are building there.
Um, well, let's see. We've got a lot of things cooking, a lot of things in the fire. So we've got, well, the first things first. We're gonna have our ETH launch coming up. We've got our bridge and staking contracts and everything. Just waiting to come back from CertiK audit. They've already been audited multiple times before, but you can never be too safe with these things, especially after the Binance bridge, got hacked. Um, so we'll have our ILO and the ETH launch, and then we have NFT marketplace coming that will be debuted by a collection of 1,000 NFTs, which are strictly PFP NFTs that are $25 a piece on BSC, and that's just going to inaugurate the marketplace. But we also have a collection of 10,000 NFTs done by Mike S. Miller. That he's a pretty big comic book artist from Marvel and DC and Game of Thrones. So he did those, and with those, there's 100 ultra rares. So these ultra rares are holding Polaroid pictures of other blue chip NFT collections like Mutant Apes and Doodles and Land and Cool Cats, Goblins. I mean, there's quite a few. There was about $300,000 spent on these NFTs at the time. Obviously the NFT market has kind of taken a downturn, so the value of those NFTs is not as high as they once were. But once they start to come back, they're going to be awesome. But yeah, so if you mint one of those ultra rares, you get the NFT that it's holding as well. So on top of that, there's SGX coming, which is going to initially start off as a decentralized perpetuals exchange, kind of like GMX, but taking that model and expanded on it to include different features like copy trading. And so with that, 25% of the revenue, the trading fees coming from that are going to go back into the Squid Grow charts in LP and in buybacks. So that right there is all I can speak on. As far as future, there are more utilities coming, but those are the only ones that have been announced so far. So I can't really speak on any others. And we are actually in the process. We have started to kind of absorb some communities and holders from projects that might just weren't making it. One was Versatile Finance recently. They just couldn't stay in the market, and they wanted to give their holders the best opportunity to get out or to continue and be able to be profitable with their holdings. So they they took their liquidity and they bought Squid Grow, and then that Squid Grow was then airdropped to all their holders, and now they are, they are some good members of our community. Um, and actually, here in about 40 minutes, there's there's a proposal for Shibnobi Shinja as well, so that might be happening too. But the main thing is these communities, they need somewhere to go, and they need to be able, to try and still hold a token that is going to get them profit, that is going to be sustainable. And that's the main thing. These are great people and great communities, and we don't want to see them, just die off, So that's something that Shibtoshi has. Oh, hey, there he is too. Um, if you want, you can bring Shibtoshi up here, and he can tell you a little more about that if you want.
Yeah, I'd love to. Shibtoshi, get up here, man. I just sent you a speaker invite. Looking dapper with that gold check mark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I sent him. I sent him a request. It's cool that you guys are leading the consolidation of some of these smaller communities, because, like you said, you don't want people to die off and leave the industry. In fact, you want people to be coming in, and it seems like you guys are kind of serving as a magnet for other communities that might be dwindling or might be looking for a new place to go to. So I'd be curious to know, while we wait for Shibtoshi to get up here, I'd be curious to know what sectors of the industry you're particularly excited about, and what projects you're DCAing into during this bear market.
Well, so my big thing is utility. I love utility. Yes, I might buy the random Degen every now and then, or some, a meme token every now and then. But my main thing is utility. So my three, I've got three main investments right now, which obviously Squid Grow, um, and that is, everybody thinks it's just a meme token, but it is a utility token with a meme name. Um, but the other two are Chuki and CMOS, Coin Merge, which I know you guys are well aware of Coin Merge. And Chuki, it's an Ethereum project, and they're building over there. They've got a music app, um, and they just started an animated series, and we've actually got a squid as one of the characters in that series.
Right on. That's awesome. Well,
But yeah,
so
CMOS,
go ahead.
I really like CMOS because they have revenue going back into the charts as well, and even in the bear market, they still have revenue coming in, to the platform, and as far as ads and spaces and everything else goes. And actually, we are starting a new addition to CoinMerge Spaces. It's going to be called The Heat, where me and Funk are bringing up 4 projects at a time, and they're going to be in the hot seat. So, they need to come prepared. I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of my AMAs in my lounge, but I don't sugarcoat anything, and I will ask the tough questions, and I ask questions that a lot of people don't think of. I had one just the other day that they had a Bitcoin mining operation, but somebody else was paying for the electric. It was crazy. I'm like, that's tax evasion. That's a tax fraud. If that guy is claiming this electric on his business. And if they don't have an answer for these things, then it goes pretty bad for them. So people need to think of everything and be prepared if they come on an AMA with me. But hey, yeah, Satoshi's up here now. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I was in the middle of the call. I just popped on to kind of just listen as I was talking. I don't have too long. We've got to prep for the Shinobi pitch, but I just wanted to stop by and see how it's going. I didn't want to take anybody's shine, um, but yeah, I'm happy to answer some questions or speak on whatever anybody's interested to hear about.
Hey man, well, listen, you're welcome to take all the shine that you want here on this podium. I'm more than happy to just share the spotlight or just give it all to you. I've had a long day of hosting spaces, man. So yeah, I think that
Taking all my shine and giving it to Shiv. There
Yeah,
we go.
I didn't wanna, I didn't want to take anything from Stonks. He's a very uh, great community member, a valuable asset to our team, and was just kind of just interested to hear him, speak. You know, I try to slide in and over here discreetly, but I always get busted, so it never really works out for me. I guess I need to make an alt account.
yeah, I was gonna say you standing out with that gold check mark,
Yeah, it makes it a little hard, I guess, to blend in, huh?
just a tad bit.
Yeah, so I mean, they had me touch on some of the utilities that we have coming with Squid Grow and some of the things that are coming. And I was actually speaking on the actually the Shibnobi pitch
Nice.
and the reason behind us doing this to grow the communities and give people a safe place
Well, this it
for
goes, it goes back to the reason why we started Squid Grow. We started Squid Grow to give everybody a safe and secure place to invest. And there's different communities out there that launch a project together, and they have the utmost intentions to do right by the community. But sometimes in market situations like this, unforeseen situations happen. There are marketing wallets funded by volume. Volume dries up. Now there's no more money. And when a project starts dwindling down and has no budget, essentially it will wither away and die if something doesn't change. And it's not, all of the projects that we are currently speaking to acquire, not all of them are doing poorly. Some of them are thriving. Some of these are giants. And we're just kind of, I'm trying to acquire everybody. So if you own a project and you're listening to this, don't be surprised if you hear from my team. I'm sure there's offers to be made to everybody. I'm just trying to absorb everybody in this space. We are Squid Grow here, and we're just going to continue to grow and push out our utilities. Obviously, we're very excited for SDX, our flagship utility, and which I think will be huge. But the more community members that we gain, it's the better for the overall the project as a whole. So that's kind of where we're at. We do have the Shinobi pitch. It is a DAO vote, so it's something a little different than some of the other projects we have talked to. It will be completely up to the community, and whatever they decide, I want the best for them. So if they decide to come Squid Grow, we'll look after them and continue to do what we've been doing throughout this whole market. Just continuing to build and market and grow our community. But it's definitely, we have several proposals for them. We will be laying out, and it's up to them at that point. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. Another thing, anybody listening, be pay attention to our Twitters and our Telegram accounts. My CFO, I flew him out from Australia. He's been out this last week. We had some business meetings that we had to attend, and I needed him out here. But while he's been out here, we met up with Mike S. Miller of DC Comics and Marvel. Those of you that do not know, he's doing our NFT collection for us, and we purchased 20 original one of one pieces of art from Mike Miller, and had them signed. And these are original pieces of art that were sent off to DC Comics and actually published in these different comic book series. We bought a bunch of the Injustice comic artwork, and we will be giving those away on our platforms. There will be various competitions for that, but just keep an eye out on that. Again, it's something unique we're trying to do, and I thought it was relatively cool. And we got pictures of Mike signing every single one of these pieces of art that we will be including to the winners as well. So just keep an eye out. We got some things coming out, some competitions, over the next couple weeks, and I think it'll be interesting. We are actively trying to grow our followings on social media. Those that do not know, we have recently parted ways from Blockchain Brothers, our longtime marketing company, from the early days back in July. It was a mutual separation, and they've done amazing things for us. But this next leg that we are trying to achieve, we kind of need a vaster horizon of marketing. And so I brought in, I will not say the project, but I brought in a CMO from another top meme project that is in the hundreds of millions of market cap, and he is currently running our marketing from behind the scenes. So if you've noticed that our style of marketing has kind of changed, it's because of that.
Right on, man. Well, listen, I appreciate the breakdown, and if anyone wants to get a deep dive into Shibtoshi, you can check out one of the many AMAs that they've done. In Squid Grow, you can check out one of the many AMAs that they've done. Are there any specifically that you refer newbies to Shibtoshi for them to get just kind of a general overview and breakdown of what you guys are building?
That would probably be best directed to Poppa Stonks on what he feels the best AMA would be. I try to touch on the project every time I speak. Obviously don't try to overdo it, but I just briefly touch on it. So I think any AMA would probably suffice to gain some information and insight into the project, but maybe Poppa Stonks has one in particular that he thinks might be better than the rest.
I still, my two favorite ones, I'd say would still be the MMKK and the Groza AMAs. I think we actually touched on a lot of things in there, in those AMAs, but the ultimate AMA obviously would be the one, that hasn't happened yet, in Astronaut Lounge.
Let's go.
And we will, with that said, Stonks, so we will get around to that. As you know, we had 3 very long days of meetings out here with Dub, and kind of freed up for the first time yesterday. So we definitely will make time for that. I don't know if it will be while Dub is out here or after he goes back to Australia, but we will definitely be doing that.
Oh no, man! It's I know it's no rush. Obviously, a lot of the Astronaut Lounge community is already part of the Squid Grow community as well, and even the ones that come in. I've actually got a few people just today that came in, about other projects, and we turned them to Squid Grow holders. So.
Yeah, happy to hear it, man. You're definitely a driving force in the community, man, and I've always been very grateful to have had you. It's kind of funny how you stumbled across our project in the early days, but I'm glad that you did.
Yeah. I was actually talking about how I was hunting down scams and stuff, and that's actually how I did get over to Squid Grow. Somebody had sent me Shibtoshi's wallet and thought that it was somebody else, which I knew this person, and I knew it wasn't his wallet for a fact. So I'm like, okay, well, this is a scam then. And I didn't, I couldn't see that person scamming, but I had to go check it out. So I get to chat, and then I realize they were mistaken. That person wasn't claiming that wallet. It was Shibtoshi's wallet, and he was there. So I cleared that up, and I bought some Squid Grow, and that was on launch day. I was about 6 hours late because that same person that they thought whose wallet it was had me out looking at another scam because they had been involved in a rug, and so he sent me the new one to go look at, and I'm busy digging into all this stuff, and all at the same time Squid Grow is launching, and and I find out later on, I'm like, man, you got me out here looking at a scam and you're launching this. Like, what's going on here?
Well,
I was
I'd say I wouldn't consider 6 hours late by any means. I think we're still very early in our life,
Oh, no, no,
and
no.
I only started buying Shiba Inu 5 hours after launch. So and I feel I'm very early in that. So 6 hours is not late by any means. I mean, even at the current
No, it
current
wasn't.
market price.
No, it was 307K market cap. That was my first buy. And then I went to sleep and it dipped down to 60K, and
I
of course I
remember
missed
that.
that dip.
I remember that.
It was gone. It was gone when I woke up. I didn't even know there was a dip when I woke up. It's still at 300K.
Yeah.
And I find out about the dip. I was a little upset. I missed it, um, but then that actually kicked off the whole all tax goes to LP
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, it did.
So
We got ripped up pretty good on the initial run up. We launched around 30K, ran up to 400, dipped down. That's around the time we injected 40K in liquidity at that time, and then buyback, and then we started the uptrend from there. But yeah, that was I remember that time. I remember seeing the dump, thinking, "Oh man." And then,
yeah,
I started looking at our ratios and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Our LP is very, very weak. So,
but yeah, over that next week or so, me and Shibtoshi spent a lot of time in that VC, and basically just with people listening to us talk, which still happens from time to time.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. But anyway, yeah, I'll just
Papa's
kind of let you take over, Papa. I'm just going to kind of linger in the background. And if there's any, questions that are directed towards me, I can pop on and address it. I've got around 25 minutes before me and my team's got to dip out. I see Dane on here as well. So we just got to kind of prep. We're running our final analytics on this Shibnobi chart, so we just need to make sure that all that's in order before we go over there.
Yeah, for sure. I've got my other phone ready to jump in on that too if I need to.
Well,
yeah.
anyway,
So really,
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead,
No, I
Shibtoshi,
was
go ahead.
just going to say thank you for allowing me to come up and have a couple words. As I said, I will be lingering in the background, so I'll be here for the next few
Yeah,
minutes.
man. I figured it was better for them to hear it from you instead of me, telling the whole project and everything. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right,
Bringing
guys.
bringing Dane up.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for coming up, Shibtoshi. I mean,
Yeah, don't
anytime
mention.
you have something to add, just feel free to uncue your mic. We're doing a fireside chat style, so
Nice. Okay,
anything
cool.
goes.
Yeah, I'll be here. Thank you, guys.
So, Papa Stonks, you're all about the utility tokens. You love and you're talking real utility, tangible utility. Squid Grow is y'all's baby. What other projects and utility tokens are you bullish on currently?
I mean, there's quite a few that I'm bullish on, but my main holdings are just Squid Grow, Chuki, and CMOS. Um, but there's Okage. They've got a swap coming out that you're actually going to be able to trade on teams and win prizes for the most profitable teams. And and it's DeFi trades. So I'm not a huge DeFi trader. My fault is I don't know how to sell. So I can't really be called a profitable trader if I don't sell the stuff. So, but I'm still bullish on the on the project and the utility behind it, and that they're going to have a portion of the fees going back into the token as well. Um, and then other than that, blue chips, Algo is one of my biggest holdings. I fully believe that Algo can outdo XRP in the long run, but that's just my beliefs there. And I was a big XRP holder as well. I did sell off most of my position there. I think a lot of that just comes down to the ease of use and transfer and transfer costs. As far as sending money through crypto, I think that is a utility in itself. I can send Algo and it's there in another wallet. It's there at the destination in 1 second, and it's almost free.
Yeah, I think that's a big value prop for a lot of crypto, right? Being able to move it across space and time almost instantaneously. I love Algo. I don't own any, but I love the team specifically. We had them on for a Twitter space not so long ago, and they're quite impressive. And John Woods and the rest of the gang. Believe they'll be coming on soon to talk about kind of the Web3 and NFT sector of Algo, and that should be an interesting one.
Yeah, I actually haven't ever traded on the on the chain. I have not traded on chain. I know there's projects on there, but I have not actually bought into any. I do need to start doing some more research on those. I've got the algo, that's for sure. So I should probably look into maybe investing in some of the projects on there as well. I got wrecked on Crow. I had a decent sized bag of Crow before their mainnet went live, and then I tried to play some projects on there, and I got extremely wrecked. So I've kind of got PTSD from that.
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of people had false hope in Kronos just because it was another EVM chain. They thought that since BSC went ballistic, the same thing was going to happen on Kronos. But one of the things I didn't like about the experience of one thing I didn't like about the Kronos experience was bridging over. It was very difficult and just a weird process to bridge over. It wasn't seamless at all, like it would be with maybe Polygon or Avalanche or. I'm sorry.
It was horrible bridging over. that was ridiculous. I've still got some over there that I'm just not even bridging back. It's going to stay there. It's very minimal at this point from what I had. But my issue with Crow was it could not handle the volume. It did get a lot of hype, when it first went live, and a lot of people jumped in, and it just congested it so much you couldn't even get a transaction to go through, and by the time you did, you were wrecked. So that's basically how I got wrecked. I would be in profit when I'd start my transaction to sell, and by the time it went
Stonks,
through,
you're flooding my bag, damn it.
Hey, Shibtoshi is a Crow whale, so I'm not trying to fudge your bag. I'm still bullish on I'm still bullish on Crow, man. I just not bullish on the actual on the chain. Um, I'm still bullish on the token. I still see some positive price action coming, but until they work out some kinks, man, I'm not gonna play on it. That's for sure.
And I think one of the barriers to entry, at least for the short term, when it comes to chains like or layer ones like Algorand or Tezos or Cadena, any ecosystem that's not EVM compatible, is just that, like, the lack of EVM compatibility. One makes it harder, at least in my experience, for users that are on EVM compatible chains transfer over, to bridge over, and thus the liquidity kind of stays siloed between a few different ecosystems like Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, BSC, of course.
Yeah, and Arbitrum. Arbitrum
and Arbitrum and Optimism for sure. Yeah, I mean the layer twos are popping up everywhere. Metis as well. If you want to tie in all the layer twos, I'm more personally, and this will probably change in the future as layer ones become more mature and as infrastructure becomes more seamless to interface with. So not having to make a wallet and write down your private keys and like connect to dApps and confirm 7 transactions to enter an LP, but all this stuff happens seamlessly the way that we interface with Web 2. I think then we'll start to see really big adoption for a lot of these layer ones. But I'm personally more bullish in Ethereum that's being like scaled with dozens of different rollups in the future.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about the Coinbase chain coming out?
I love it. I think Coinbase is crushing the game. I think that they've been doing a good job of that over the last 10 years or however many years they've been around. Probably longer, I think, at this point, but maybe about 10 years. But any layer 2, well, first of all, any product that Coinbase puts out is fantastic. I think the user experience is on point. You can say what you want about not your keys, not your coins, as far as keeping your funds on an exchange. Well, you don't have to do that. You don't have to use their custodial services. But if they build with the money that they have and just kind of the credibility that they have within the U.S., if they build out a layer 2, and that layer 2 is oriented towards pulling in the masses, right? Lowering the barrier to entry, and that layer 2 is built on top of Ethereum. I love it. I'm very excited to see what they do with that, and I think a lot of other big names are going to follow suit at some point.
And hey guys, I just wanted to jump on real quick and say I'm going to be popping off. Thank you for the hospitality. I've got a couple phone calls I got to make right quick. So thanks for hosting this space and having Stonks on and Dane up as well and having me pop up briefly. Thank you guys.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Thank you for coming. But yeah, Stonks, that's kind of how I feel about Base, and really I get excited when different layer 2s with different purposes. Right now, I think most layer 2s are pretty general purpose. You can say the same thing about layer 1s. Everything's kind of general purpose. And I think that layer 1s and layer 2s are going to need to, as more pop up, they're going to need to really distinguish themselves. So like one layer 1 is really focused on DeFi. One layer 2 is really focused on DeFi. One's really focused on gaming. One's really focused on, I don't know, NFTs that bring real world utility on chain or tokenize real world assets. I'm just spitballing here, but I think that there's going to be a lot of. Go ahead.
Yeah, those NFT projects that are focused on real world assets, like real estate and everything else. I actually worked for a project called Chain Estate DAO. and that's what it was meant to do. But again, these guys, they were kind of new in the space. They had a great idea, but they couldn't. They didn't think it all the way through with the legal aspects, especially here in the United States. Um, just did an AMA with another one that they're tokenized, but nobody in the U.S., unless you're an accredited investor, can invest in it because it's a security token. And I didn't like that myself personally, because then it just takes the complete decentralization out of it. And why, if you're going to invest 200K, why wouldn't you just buy the property yourself? I will just, they don't think things through. They're not coming from the actual crypto world. They're not from the Web3 DeFi space. And, they're business minded, but I just don't see the purpose of putting a token or an NFT behind something that 90% of the people can't afford. What's the point in that? Just call them VCs and just buy properties and split the profits if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, I think the tokenization of real estate's really cool because if this stuff is on chain, it's going to allow people to access investors from all over the world, whereas typically they might be able to only access investors um, within a certain scope, maybe within their community or typically within their country. I don't know what things are like, how this stuff is going to be regulated on chain. I still think that it's very much the Wild West with all these, not just Ethereum, but all these layer twos and all these alt layer ones. It's going to be hard to keep up, but I'm very bullish. Again, tokenization of real world assets with NFTs because it's going to allow everyday folks, to invest in lucrative projects that they otherwise might have not been able to. And as for the accredited investor thing, I always thought that was kind of bizarre. Why, um, only accredited investors, aka people with a net worth of over like 1 to 2 million, were able to get into these IPOs.
Yeah.
I
Well,
I know that the whole argument was that you're protecting the little guy, but if you were trying to protect the little guy, then wouldn't you just ban casinos and ban FanDuel and all the different gambling platforms out there that people lose money on every day? I
100%.
don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
100. Well, and a lot of people, they can't use those either. In certain states, anyways. But there's so many online gaming, like Bovada and stuff like that I've lost a ton of Bitcoin on. And yeah, you're right. How are they protecting the little guy? They're actually limiting the little guy. They're keeping the little guy from becoming the big guy doing that stuff. And I don't feel it's right. But it is what it is. They have to do, going off of the SEC and everything. If they want to be a security token, then they have to follow the security laws. However lopsided that they are. And obviously, if they hadn't been following those laws, I would have tore them up in the AMA for that. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's why I said, I really don't see the purpose of having a token behind it at that point. And if you can figure out a way to do it in a decentralized fashion, then that would be awesome. Maybe get move your company to a different country, where the security laws are a little different. But that's just me. If I was going to do something like that, that's exactly what I would do. Is I would move my registration. I would move my corporate registration to country that allowed the smaller investors to get in. That's the whole point behind these things. If you're going to fractionalize real estate like that, the whole point is to allow the smaller investors to get a piece and have a piece of that property and get some profits from that. If it's only accredited investors in the US that can have to throw in 200K, then again, they can just go buy their own properties. They don't need to fractionalize anything.
I couldn't agree more. And really quick, you mentioned a couple times these hot seat AMAs where you really grill projects. Something that we don't typically do here. We try to stay more neutral, we try to stay more neutral. Although there have been times where I can't contain myself and I get a bit critical. But
well, so we haven't started.
Generally
We haven't
speaking,
started that series yet. The one with Coin Merge. We're just now, like, we literally just announced it and trying to fill the seats for that. But that's typically how I run my AMAs. Is it's not that I'm attacking them, but I'm sure you've all heard these AMAs that are just kind of sugar coated and hand holding, and so these people were paid for an AMA and they're just going to let the project come on and say just about anything and say, oh, yeah, sounds good. No, if it does not sound good, I'm not going to say it sounds good. I'm going to tell them exactly why I think it sounds bad. And, a lot of projects have actually benefited from that. And taken advice. Had one project come on and their whole liquidity thing was just trash. And they took the advice and changed the model that they were going to go with. And it definitely helped them because the way that they had planned it. Again, these guys, and this was a real estate token, by the way, too. The way that they had planned it, there was not going to be any liquidity left. After the first few people sold. And there wasn't going to be any more utility or liquidity coming in for another year until after they built the property and sold it. So it was going to be a dead token for a year while they were waiting to sell this property.
Yeah, I mean, I like that point of departure, right? Putting projects in the hot seat. I think that a lot of channels might avoid doing that because it might hinder the amount of business they get. I can say that if I spoke my mind and my heart on every single project that came on, it probably wouldn't be the best for the channel. I think maybe, I don't know.
Well,
that's what I'm speculating.
that's the thing.
Because I'm
not focused on the money, the income coming in from the channel. I'm focused on giving my community the truth about projects so
That's
they
amazing.
know
Yeah.
what to invest in, and and it helps them think about different things in other projects. Like, wait a minute, so if this project, it doesn't work here, and hell, it's not even legal, but this is the same thing this other project is doing. I want people to learn how to kind of vet a project themselves. I'm doing this for my community, not to get more AMAs. I'm doing this, and I've gotten a lot more AMAs just from it, actually, because people, with serious projects that know that they can answer the tough questions, those are the ones that want to come on.
I love it. I think that more podiums and more channels need to do with what you guys are doing, this kind of Shark Tank approach to projects, because a lot of projects go about getting unchecked, and it's important to punch holes in things, and lots of holes that can be punched. And most projects that I see come through different podiums and different channels.
And I mean, I go as far back as tracking deployer wallets and private sale funds and all that. So if I see any, irregularities or stuff that, shouldn't be there, I will call it out.
Look, Poppa Stonks, I mean, big respect to you guys for doing that, to you for doing that. And I want to listen in on these hot seat spaces. I want to see what kind of projects come on. I want to see how they take criticism. I want to see what kind of criticism is handed out. And I want to see that channel. I want to see that product grow, because I think we need, again, more and more. We need more spaces and more AMAs with people that are being hypercritical on projects that need a reality check. But listen, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm about to go get some dinner with my girlfriend, but anytime you want to come back on and shoot the shit, talk about crypto, talk about where you think the market's going, what your favorite plays are, you're more than welcome to. And if you have any closing thoughts for the audience today, go ahead and share them now. But it's been awesome talking to you.
All right. Yeah. So in closing, everybody just try to educate yourselves and, get educated, especially in this DeFi space. Invest in a team, but at the same time, you need to learn how to look at, Etherscan or BSC scan and follow transactions and see what's really going on behind the scenes. If you're going to trade, futures, use proper risk management, and, don't overtrade, don't chase trades. Wait for your entry and go from there. There's always going to be another play around the corner. You don't have to chase. Don't chase green candles. You sell the tips and buy the dips. That's that's how people make it in this space. But yeah, just closing, everybody just stay safe out there. And if you have any questions, you can come to my lounge and ask me anything you want.
Was it sell the tips, buy the dips? Is that what it was?
Sell the tips and buy the dips, baby.
I love it. And you can apply that same philosophy even to blue chips, man. If you see the market pumping 20% in a day, don't chase it. Just wait. I mean, sometimes you get hit with that bull market rally where it just keeps going up, but I don't think we're in a environment for that at the moment. Poppa Stonks, great words of wisdom, great closing thoughts. Whale Talk community, thank you for joining today. That was the fourth space of Monday, and it's been an action-packed day of conversation and knowledge. We're going to be continuing tomorrow in the morning with our main guy Glenn, and then I'll be taking over in the afternoon. But remember, everything you hear on this broadcast is meant for educational purposes only. Nothing is financial advice, so be safe out there, and we'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man. Thanks.